مضيق خلقك. الحمد لله ما حد بياخذ منك رزقك. هدي وارتاح ثابر واطمح من حقك. بس بلاش العين، لا 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 ما تسوى الدنيا مضيق خلقك. الحمد لله ما حد بياخذ منك رزقك. هدي وارتاح ثابر واطمح من حقك. بس بلاش.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All thanks and praises are due to Allah, by whose grace all things are made possible. A very warm welcome to Community Showcase today. Today, we showcase an institute that quite honestly does not require too much introduction at all. Jamiatul Qurra, established in the Western Cape in 1969, is this year celebrating 50 years of excellence in the memorization of the Holy Quran. It's our privilege to have in our studio today our two guests, Hafiz Fahim Jackson, Maulana Salim Bek, both of them JEQ alumni as it were. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And so 50 years is a long time. Your alumni, and from which you are proud graduates, celebrates this milestone this year. It surely must, Maulana Salim, fill you with a sense of pride and great joy, pride in the good sense of the word, that you were part and parcel of an institution like this, that its longevity indicates certainly the success of its program, of its methodology. And I know you personally, and you are still a student of Quran and now engaged in the teaching of Arabic and teaching, in fact, adults to read as well. So when you reflect, and as part of this particular program today, and indeed part of JEQ, how does that make you feel?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, having been part of JEQ since the age of about 9 years old, alhamdulillah, it's a great honor, it's a great privilege to be part of such an institute, being very, very closely connected to its rector, Sheikh Muhammad Yusuf Buli, Allah yarhamu. Some great sentimental feelings fill the heart, alhamdulillah, when thinking about Jamiatul Qurra, when thinking about certain stages of its development, alhamdulillah. There was a time where the Jamiatul Qurra would recite in the homes of people on Sundays, and this is something that moved over to masajid, different mosques in and around Cape Town, alhamdulillah. And today, alhamdulillah, Jamiatul Qurra stands with this beautiful institute that is now catering not only for hifz excellence, but is catering also to our students' secular learning as well. So to see development in a number of avenues, alhamdulillah, is very, very heartwarming. We can always look forward to what will happen in the next 50 years, inshallah ta'ala. Ameen.
Hafiz Fahim, when you cast your mind back, what are the type of things that stand out for you in terms of your time at JEQ?
Alhamdulillah, so myself not only being a part of Jamiatul Qurra, my family also has a history with Jamiatul Qurra. My grandfather was the sound person for Jamiatul Qurra for almost 60 years. And my father also being part of the management board of Jamiatul Qurra, alhamdulillah. So it's a great honor and privilege to sit here today and to see this huge structure and the development and everything. It's really exciting. And all we can say is alhamdulillah, we didn't choose that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose for us. And alhamdulillah, I'm glad and I'm honored.
Alhamdulillah. If I may continue with you, Sheikh Fahim, in terms of you, the student, and now the ex-student, so apart from the physical and structural changes, as it were, if I was to speak about the issue of methodology, and then as you correctly say, you were connected to Sheikh Yusuf Buli, and your I think it was your father, your grandfather had served on the board. This issue of 50 years, there must be something special about the institute to ensure that it, and in inverted commas, survived for so long, and inshallah will do so until the end of time. But in terms of methodology then and now, anything that you can share with us?
I think in terms of the methodology of teaching, one thing that stands out is consistency. And that's also something that the Rasulullah guided us upon, whereas we need to be this ummah that is, we base our value system and our deen on consistency. So when you look at a person like Sheikh Yusuf Buli, and we can say the brains behind this whole institution, we can see that he was a very consistent man. If you speak to anybody, and asked him about if they knew who Sheikh Yusuf Bulli was. He was a man of the Quran. So I think that consistency of Sheikh Yusuf Bulli kind of filtered down to everybody that's involved with Jamiatul Qura to hold up to that standard and also to improve it. And I think everybody just plays a part, but I think everybody also looks to Sheikh Yusuf as he was the inspiring role model, and he really set that bar very high for all the students, alumni, and I mean, Sheikh Salim Pick, we were together in one class also. And Sheikh Yusuf Bulli, he just had that high standard. So for me, what stood out really is that consistency and that high standard that he set for the Quran. He always wanted the best for each student to display the Quran in its best form.
Alhamdulillah. So it's that consistency, the high standard, and the personality, as it were, that then permeated, filtered through the rest of the school. Sheikh Salim, coming back to you, Maulana Salim Peck, the issue of impact that JEQ had on your own life and your development, and then your post-JEQ life, as it were. So as an institution, what impact would you share with us?
SubhanAllah, all praise and thanks is always due to Allah, but without JEQ as a vehicle for having brought me closer to the Quran and having given me this gift of inshallah being a hafiz of the Quran and one that is able to recite the Quran, I would not have been whatever I do, whatever I am, whatever I have, would absolutely not have been. So, you know, through the grace of Allah, JEQ had been that particular vehicle for me in my life. Sheikh Fahim mentions regarding Sheikh Muhammad Yusuf Bulli and the amount of consistency that he showed. If there was a lesson for me that I would personally take from Jamiatul Qurra and that we learn from Sheikh Muhammad Yusuf Bulli is the idea of love for the Quran. It is that love for the Quran that would inspire that consistency. It is that love for the Quran that would inspire that commitment, that would inspire one to undergo challenges in the stead of memorizing. And this is something that all of us need to, we need to think about it very, very often. It is something that needs to definitely be imparted to the students, that over and above every other aspect of the Quran, yes, we want to produce excellent memorization, we want to produce excellent reciters, and there are so many avenues of excellence that we want to produce for the Quran, and it's all very important. But equally important and even more important is the idea of love for the Quran. Because once that is grounded in the student's heart, whether the student is currently at JQ or they leave and after 5 years or after 10 years or after 20 years or after 50 years, subhanAllah, they will still undoubtedly be connected to the Quran. And this is something that Sheikh Muhammad Yusuf Bulli tried to instill within us, that have that love for the Quran, and you will always continue with the Quran whenever you might be.
And would you say, Sheikh Salim, that is part of the JEQ approach, as it were?
Oh, most
the issue
definitely.
of love of Quran.
Most definitely, most definitely. It is something that, subhanAllah, the teachers bring across in the way that they teach the Quran, in the way that they themselves beautifully recite the Quran, in the way that the advices of the Quran are imparted to the students. One can definitely sense that the teachers themselves, inshallah, they have a great love for the Quran, and it's something that they try to impart as best as they can to their students.
Sure, Jazakumullah. Hafidh Fahim, the issue of when the student leaves JEQ, so perhaps it's easy or easier to be at an institute, engage in Quran on a daily basis in terms of studying, as it were. And then there comes a time where the student leaves the institution and either goes to school, to university, or into a place of work. In your experience, what is it that you ultimately take with you? So the memorization, certainly, I accepted. But in terms of life lessons, I'm speaking about the adaptation from student at JEQ to the person outside of JEQ. In what sense do you think JEQ actually prepares their students for that?
I think at the moment, if you also look at JEQ, you can see that it's kind of multifaceted. So preparing the student for everyday life, the academics is very important to JEQ. So not only focusing only on memorizing the Quran and becoming just like a machine, you're just memorizing the Quran, but you are a living, breathing person, and you might have other passions as well. So the one thing that I also took away from Sheikh Yusuf and his vision for Jamiatul Qura was, if you look at the Islamic world, there's a saying that you say that the Quran was revealed in Mecca, it is recited in Egypt and written in Turkey. So referring also not only to the revelation of the Quran, the preservation of the Quran, but in the preservation of the Quran in other forms, like the artistic rendition of the Quran. And Sheikh Yusuf had a huge love for the Qurra, the reciters from Egypt. He had a personal and close relationship with many of the Qurra, especially in our time when we were students. He brought home, Sheikh Ahmed Na'ina, and I believe he's coming again, inshallah. So Sheikh Ahmed Na'ina, inspired us. We could sit there and listen live to the man, maybe just sitting around the table with Sheikh Yusuf and sitting, with them. I think he brought these people into our life and brought the Quran on a level where you can actually apply it in different ways. I'm involved in calligraphy at the moment, in writing the Quran. So if you look at that art also, it's the Quran speaks to everyone. And I feel that the Huffaz, maybe a message to the Huffaz now, that they shouldn't only see one avenue. Oh, I must become a Quran teacher. Yes, you impart the Quran to whoever you can in your life, but you continue with your life the way you can and draw from that inspiration in whatever way you can.
SubhanAllah. Maulana Salim and Hafidh Fahim, I just want to thank you for sharing your profound knowledge, your expertise and your input. So today we've heard from JEQ, and we'll come back after the break, and these were the alumni students, and we'll speak to some other alumni to speak to us about this outstanding institute committed to the excellence in the memorization of the Holy Quran, Jamiatul Qura, celebrating 50 years of excellence in this 2019. Shukran.
لا 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 ما تسوى الدنيا تضيق خلقك، الحمد لله ما حد بياخذ منك رزقك، هدي وارتاح